وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا بني إسرائيل اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأوفوا بعهدي أوف بعهدكم وإياي فارهبون وآمنوا بما أنزلت مصدقا لما معكم ولا تكونوا أول كافر به ولا تشتروا بآياتي ثمنا قليلا وإياي فاتقون صدق الله العظيم. From ayat number 40 of Surat Baqarah, we have already gone over a brief history of the Bani Israel, the Yahud, and how they ended up in Medina or Yathrib. They migrated to Yathrib or Medina, and they were there waiting in anticipation for the coming of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They were already foretold in their scriptures that a great Nabi will come and he will be the seal of all prophets. Some of his sifat and qualities were already mentioned and are still there in their scriptures. So in Medina, when these tribes, the Jews, they migrated there, they established themselves in various fields. Amongst them many tribes, but some of the famous tribes, the powerful tribes. In Medina, there were three major famous powerful tribes. There was Banu Nadir, Banu Qaynuqa, and Banu Qurayza. These were the very well established and powerful tribes in Medina from amongst the Yahud or the Jews. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he migrated from Makkah to Medina, some of the leaders of the Yahud or the Bani Israel, they came and they met with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. They knew from his signs, and it was very, very clear to them that definitely he was a Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that he was the very Nabi that was spoken about in their revelation, so much so that even his name was given as Ahmad in their revelations. In the previous scriptures, his name was also given there. Not only this, but the sifat of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum have also been mentioned in the previous scriptures. And more specifically, some of the sifat of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and Umar radiallahu anhu have been mentioned. And the great qualities of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum in general. So it was very, very clear to them, they already knew that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was the Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Later on in Surat Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions الَّذِينَ يَعْرِفُونَهُ كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُم. These Bani Israel or these Yahud, these Jews, they know and they recognize Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And they recognize the truth, كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُم. They recognize their own children. People do not mess up in recognizing their children. Even someone has twins, to everyone else, the twins look the same and may even be very, very similar. But the parents can tell them apart very easily. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that they knew and they recognized Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, but they chose not to accept. So in these ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the Bani Israel And this is a very, very lengthy discussion going very close to the end of the first juz. Many ayat deal with the aspect of the Bani Israel, all the way up until the discussion of Abwabul Bir, the chapters of righteousness. And the reason this very, very lengthy discussion is mentioned almost close to 100 ayat in Surat al-Baqarah. This very, very lengthy discussion is mentioned regarding them. And also later in Surat al-Baqarah, there are a few incidents also mentioned close to the end of Surat al-Baqarah as well. But the reasoning behind this is that this was the one nation or the one ummah that came before us Muslims. And for a very, very long time, hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kept nubuwwat, prophethood, and even scriptures, wahi, in this nation, the nation of the Bani Israel. But throughout history, they have proven and they have proved themselves to not follow the ahkam and the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They openly disobeyed, and in many conditions and in many cases, they try to find reasons and excuses to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They try to play smart with the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also they killed many anbiya alayhimus salam. They used to kill the anbiya alayhimus salam in such large numbers. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would send them a nabi from His side, if that nabi did not conform to their desires or their way of life, they would kill that nabi. This was kind of a common practice amongst them. In some instances, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would send many anbiya at one time, and they would kill all of those anbiya at the same time. But if there was a condition where the Bani Israel were going through difficulty, they were oppressed, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He would send a Nabi at the time of oppression, so the Bani Israel were ready to follow, and that Nabi would get them out of that difficult situation, they would be taken out of those difficult scenarios, or they would be taken out of that oppression. And when the Bani Israel were given a good time and they had authority or the upper hand, and they would go back and resort back to killing the Anbiya alayhimus salam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in many cases, in some of the narrations, sent up to almost 10,000 Anbiya alayhimus salam were sent to the Bani Israel. They killed majority of them, they followed some of them. Even the teachings of those that they followed, they changed. The Bani Israel would try their best to change and find ways to change the wahi and the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In fact, there was a debate between a great Muslim scholar and a rabbi. So in the debate, the rabbi, he stood up and he said, we're much better than you, Muslims. And he said, the reason we are much better than you is because to us, 10,000 prophets have come, and to you only one came. The great Shaykh, the Imam of that time, he stood up and he said, yes, Anbiya and prophets are sent to wicked people, not to good people. For us, one prophet was enough. We're guided. To you, 10,000 came and you're still crooked, So, but this is the reality. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent so many Anbiya alayhim as-salam, and even then they did not accept. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these ayat addresses the Bani Israel. You're given one final chance to accept this hidayah and accept this guidance, and to get back or be given that level of prestige that you were given over the rest of the other nations. You should avail of this chance, take advantage of this chance. Accept this deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or else then this deen will be given to others and you will not be given this chance again. So in these ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the Bani Israel, Ya Bani Israel, O the children of Israel. Israel being the laqab or the title of Yaqub alayhi salam. This is a Hebrew word, it comes from Hebrew or Aramaic, and it means Abdullah. This was the title given to Yaqub alayhi salam. Remember, there are some Anbiya alayhim salam, some prophets, who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them various titles in the Quran. Nuh alayhi salam, he was given the title Najiyullah. Musa alayhi salam was given the title Kalimullah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke to him. Isa alayhi salam was given the title Ruhullah. Ibrahim alayhi salam was given the title Khalilullah. So similarly, Yaqub alayhi salam, he was given the title Israel, which means Abdullah, or slave of Allah. And his children, the Bani Israel, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spread his progeny and kept the nubuwwat and many Anbiya alayhim salam in this progeny. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the Bani Israel, Ya Bani Israel, O children of Israel, Udhkuru ni'mati allati an'amtu alaykum. Remember the favor that I have bestowed upon you. And that great favor being that hidayah or guidance was kept in amongst them. Where the Anbiya alayhim salam and prophets were sent only to them. They were given the chance to accept hidayah and to become better than all of the other nations. وَأَوْفُوا بِعَهْدِي, and fulfill my covenant that I have given to you. أُوفِ بِعَهْدِكُمْ, I will fulfill the terms of the covenant that I made with you from my side. وَإِيَّايَ فَارْهَبُونَ, and also have this fear of disobeying me or breaking the covenant. That covenant that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made with the Bani Israel was at the time of Musa alayhi salam. And those ayat are coming, the qissa and the story is coming. There are many stories and incidents and events that are coming in the coming ayat. But they made a covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the time of Musa alayhi salam. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved the Bani Israel from Fir'aun. Afterwards, the Bani Israel were wandering in the desert. And they asked for some guidance, or they asked for a way to live their life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought Musa alayhi salam to do i'tikaf with him. And for 40 nights Musa alayhi salam spent time with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in this time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Musa alayhi salam the Torah on tablets. The Bani Israel during this time, they involved in shirk. And I'm making this story very short, but the ayat are coming later on. We'll go in detail once we get to that story. And the Bani Israel, they did not want to accept this Torah. They told Musa alayhi salam that he could have gotten these tablets from anyone, even a jinn. That's strange people. So Musa alayhi salam, he said, okay, what will it take that for you to accept this? They said, we want that we want to go and meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should tell us to accept this, then we'll accept it. So Musa alayhi salam told them, okay, bring your chiefs, your leaders. I can't take all of you. There were thousands in number. So they selected from amongst them their chiefs or their leaders, 70 chiefs. And they went with Musa alayhi salam to Mount Tur, and there Musa alayhi salam spoke to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, oh Allah, these are the chiefs. And they're not ready to accept the Torah unless you tell them to accept it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke to them. The sound came from one tree, or from the area, from the side of a tree. But these chiefs, they said, no, this sound could be the sound of any. لَن نُؤْمِنَ لَكَ حَتَّى نَرَى اللَّهَ جَهْرًا. The ayat are coming. They said, we won't believe in you until we see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly with our eyes. What a strange. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent one blast and killed all of them. فَأَخَذَتْهُمُ الصَّاعِقَةُ وَهُمْ يَنْظُرُونَ. One blast came, wiped out all of them. Musa alayhi salam was rendered unconscious. Musa alayhi salam came to his senses. He woke up, he looked around, all 70 dead chiefs. He said, رَبِّ لَوْ شِئْتَ أَهْلَكْتَهُمْ مِنْ قَبْلُ وَإِيَّايَ. The dua is coming. It's mentioned in Surah Al-A'raf. He said, oh Allah, if you wanted to destroy them, you could have destroyed them before. أَتُهْلِكْنَا بِمَا فَعَلَ السُّفَهَاءُ مِنَّا إِنْ هِيَ إِلَّا فِتْنَتُكَ. He said, oh Allah, are you going to destroy us because of these foolish ones amongst us? Oh Allah, this is your trial. And he said, Musa alayhi salam said, oh Allah, if I go back, they'll say what happened to the chiefs, and I tell them this is what happened. They'll blame me for murder. You killed all of them. You're making this up. Then they'll really turn on me. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted the dua of Musa alayhi salam and brought the 70 chiefs back to life. ثُمَّ بَعَثْنَاكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَوْتِكُمْ. The ayat are coming. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that we resurrected you after death. So when they came back down the mountain, so the people asked the chiefs, what did you see? They said, we heard something and we saw something. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the mount of Tur and put it over their heads and brought it down so low that they fell on their knees. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the ayat in Surat al-Baqarah, they're coming. وَإِذَا أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَكُمْ وَرَفَعْنَا فَوْقَكُمُ الطُّورِ. Man, the mountain of Tur was literally on top of their head. It's not a very nice sight to see a mountain on top of you. And it comes down so low that you can't stand up, you're on your knees. So at that moment they said, Sami'na, Sami'na, Sami'na. We heard, we're ready to listen. I mean, what more proof do you want? When the mountain went back, Musa alayhi salam said, did you hear? This is Sami'na wa asayna. So we heard, but we're not going to obey. La ilaha illallah. Such a strange call. They saw all of these miracles, and even then they were not ready to accept. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving them this chance in these ayat of Surah al-Baqarah. Awfu bi'ahdi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing them. That fulfill my covenant, that covenant that I gave you. You should accept this hidayah that I'm giving you. Accept the nubuwwat of the prophets that I'm sending you. Ufi bi'ahdikum, I'll fulfill my covenant on you, that I'll make you the leaders of the people. وَإِيَّايَ فَرْهَبُونَ. And fear me. Have this fear of me. Be very, very careful in how you live your life. وَآمِنُوا بِمَا أَنزَلْتُ مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا مَعَكُمْ. And believe in that which I have sent you, which is confirming the very revelation that has been with you. Accept this Quran, the Kalamullah. Accept the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Accept the nubuwwat of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَلَا تَكُونُوا أَوَّلَ كَافِرٍ بِهِ. Do not be the first to deny this. Don't be the first one in line to deny. Don't become the staunch enemies of this deen. وَإِيَّايَ فَاتَّقُونَ. And have this taqwa. Stay away from all forms of disobedience. Keep away from anything that would bring my wrath on you. So very, very direct hukum and very direct address to the Bani Israel, that you're given this final chance. And the reason they're being addressed, it was already made very clear that the people already knew that as far as the qawm or the nation that was given wahi before, the Ahlul Wahi, was the Bani Israel. So everyone was looking at them that if they accept, then this means that this is haqq, this is truth, and we will also accept. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was giving them this chance in these ayat, giving them very, very direct address. Yes, there were a few number amongst them, of even the rabbis, some 5 or 6 of them that accepted this deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Amongst them was Abdullah bin Salam radiallahu anhu, and a few others, Ka'ab al-Ahbar radiallahu anhu, and many others, some very, very great Sahaba. But they were very, very few in number, hardly 10 or 12. But even amongst them, the very, very sincere ones were very, very few. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends this discussion or this direct address to the Bani Israel. Amongst the very, very first hukum given to them in these ayat, they should accept the covenant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and accept this deen. Another thing that is also very, very clear, or should be made very clear, is that many of the things that the Bani Israel did, we've been told by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that many of those things even we will do. In fact, we'll even follow them, or the kuffar. Even if they go inside a hole in a cave or something, we will also follow them there also. And it's a reality, go check. Yes, we may not have Anbiya alayhimus salam, we may not have prophets amongst us. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has told us, Al-ulama warathatul anbiya. That the ulama, the scholars of this deen, they are the heirs to the prophets. They're those that will inherit nubuwwat in their chests. And how many great scholars and ulama have been killed? And killed by who? Not by non-Muslims. They are very Muslim. They don't agree with the view of some very, very great scholars. So what happens? They go and kill them. You might be thinking, oh, the Bani Israel killed prophets. At least we didn't kill any prophets. How many ulama have been killed? And over what? Sometimes very, very small things. And we're also fighting the same way they're fighting. And we're also trying to find, the Bani Israel, they tried to find ways around the hukum of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They were told a very simple example, not to fish or not to do any kind of business on the Sabbath, which is Saturday. They tried to find a way around that. They dug ditches inside the riverside, and the fish would go in there, all they did was just open the nets, And the fish would get caught. They would go Sunday and just collect them. And say, you see, we're not doing any business. All we're doing is we're putting the cage down. Trying to play with the ahkam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We might be thinking, oh, we don't do that. Really? There was one person, he came to us in one of our ulama. One of our scholars was telling us, one man who came to me asking for a fatwa. He said, the fatwa of zakah is that if you have the wealth for 1 year, right? The Shaykh said, yes, this is the hukum. If you have the nisab for 1 year, so you have to pay zakah. The person, he said, okay, what if the wealth is in my account for 11 months and then in my wife's account for 1 month? So I don't have to pay zakah, right? Let's try to play with the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is how we think we're so smart. We're like that simple villager who got conned. You know the story of, there was a villager. He said, I want to go to the city. And so he had another friend who was a city person. And he was telling this simple farmer, this villager, that listen, if you go to the city, don't go alone. Someone's going to con you, So the simple villager or farmer, he was like, what are you talking about? You know how smart I am? No one can con me, man. What do you know? I'll go to the city myself. I'll con them, Thought he was so smart. So he went to the city. His friend was like, okay, fine. But just in case you do get conned, let me know. So this simple villager went to the city and he was coming back and he was very happy, very proud. His friend met him on the way and said, you look really happy. You saw the city? He said, yeah, I saw the city, man. And I conned the police officer. I said, you conned? What are you talking about? He said, you see, I was walking in the city and I saw a building and I was counting 1, 2, I counted 20 floors. So the police officer came to me and said that for every floor you count, you have to pay $10. I told him I only counted 3, so I conned him out of 17 floors. His friend was like, you fool, that was a con artist, not a police officer. So now we think we're so smart. We're trying to, a'udhu billah, con Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In reality, we're just conning ourselves. We're destroying ourselves. These ahkam don't affect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They affect us. So you have to be very, very careful. But the reality is that the reason that Bani Israel are mentioned, and many of the ahkam and the stories, these qisas that are mentioned in Surat al-Baqarah and throughout the rest of the Quran also, they're not just mentioned as stories that we just read and say, oh, what a nice story. There's very, very deep lessons in these ahkam, very, very deep lessons in these stories, that we may also take these lessons and not fall prey to the same problem that the Bani Israel fell prey to. So while we're studying these ahkam and studying these stories, we always try to mention the wisdom, or at least the reason behind these ayat or these ahkam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us the tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بالقرآن وزين أخلاقنا بالقرآن ونجنا من النار بالقرآن وادخلنا في الجنة بالقرآن. اللهم اجعل القرآن لنا في الدنيا قرينا وفي القبر مونسا وعلى الصراط نورا وفي الجنة رفيقا ومن النار سترا وحجابا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.